do a little stream for a bit, trying to see if I can repro an issue that started with the latest Season 2 update, where on my spectator system, apparently the C bar gets saturated and it starts stuttering and going out of sync with what's happening in real time. This is what it looks like. Here's a video that I posted in the forums about it. So the race starts off okay, and then this starts to happen.
Private message car number set to 13 for Phil Hill.
You see cars start to flip around,
What would you like to say?
Settle down, Phil.
and then the screen starts blacking out periodically,
I heard settle down, Phil.
and things sort of just get worse from there.
Post the chat message.
Posting settle down, Phil to car 13 as a private message.
So in my experience, it happens with big grids, and I've only really seen it in the IMSA pilot series with the GT4. But that just might be coincidental, I don't know. But what I was going to do now is jump in one of the sessions that should be starting up. I think it's 117 now, so the series just started off. Let's see if there's a big grid session we can spectate. So I only see this problem on my spectator system. I've never seen it in my game rig. So here's a couple sessions. They all have 40. We'll just jump in this one arbitrarily. Originally, I suspected that it had to do with a new LOD system. I try to run my spectator system at 30 hertz, which is unusual, I know. But I only need it to provide the spectator view for my stream, and running at 30 hertz is the same as my Twitch broadcast. So there was a mismatch in the settings for the LOD system where I could have the system target 30 hertz and limit the game to running at that, but the LOD system only went down to 45. So I thought there might be an issue where those two systems are sort of competing, or it's getting in a feedback loop where the target is 30, so that's what it's doing, but the LED system could only try and go hit 40 and 45, and it was out of sync. But after some more investigation and feedback from iRacing folk, I'm no longer convinced that's the problem. The problem seems to be that the physics thread totally saturates one of the cores, and that's why the C bar is completely full red and the synchronization starts to fall out. So I think I know in my heart of hearts that the real problem is that the computer that I'm using on my stream PC is old and slow, and it's doing a lot of stuff. So typically, to support the stream, I have voice attack running, I have a Z1 dashboard running, and right now my game rig is doing a replay so that it's providing this window with data and stuff, because I wanted to have this experiment be as similar to the way I'm normally streaming as possible. I have a little IRSDK program running that I wrote that hides the UI on the spectator system every 30 seconds, but I really don't think that's part of the problem. I also have the Kuchu apps, Better TP. I have OBS running, obviously, because that's what's compositing the stream. I have Chrome going so that I can interact with iRacing. I usually have my task manager going. And right now, we also have iRacing. We just jumped into this session. So right off the bat, because it was loading in, I think, our C bar was pretty utilized. And we see that in the CPU graph. It sort of peaks as it's loading in. Let's take a look and pretend that it's running the way I do when I'm driving. What I've also noticed is that it doesn't seem to generally be a problem for the open practice or the qualifying. It really only becomes a problem once the race is going. And I also am suspicious, I believe it has to do with when there are big crashes, and that could just be loading on top of an already stressed system with all the physics and stuff in the new damage model that has to do with the way all those pieces of the cars are simulated and stuff. So right now we can see already that on the CPU utilization, I'm pretty saturated. And if we look at which processes are actually the heavy hitters, obviously OBS. I mean, it's my stream PC, and doing all the video encoding and stuff is a pretty steep ask. iRacing is around 18, 19, 20%. And I don't know what the Windows anti-malware service is doing. I hope it goes away. And the rest of it's pretty low utilization. So obviously the two heavy hitters are iRacing and OBS, as you would expect. But I'm going to see what happens. You know, we'll have a few minutes left in this practice session, and then we'll go to qualify, and then we'll see the race go. If it runs the way that it's run when I'm actually participating and it's watching me, what I expect to see is the practice and qualify are borderline, but once it gets into the race is where it crosses the threshold and the system starts to stutter. So we'll see. I'm kind of hoping that's what happens. If it doesn't happen, oh well. Hey girl, set camera to far chase. So I guess while we're doing this, I might as well look at some of the options and stuff that I have running. I understand now that the C bar is indicative of physics, and that's running at 90 Hertz no matter what you do with the graphics. So even though I'm targeting 30 Hertz and I'm telling the LED system to only hit 30 Hertz, the physics is still running at 60, and that makes sense to me. I am running with MaxCar 63. For a while I was running with the Digital Race Engineer on the Stream PC, and having the Max Cars was necessary for that. I do understand that Eagle has put in some stuff to try and work with fewer Max Cars, and if that's a necessity to throttle back, I'm all for it, but I'm also still just trying to understand, because historically, running the Spectator with all these options generally up on high and enabled, has not been a super heavy load for the PC, especially just trying to run the graphics at 30 Hertz. It hasn't been that heavy, and I think something did change. It might just be, you know, that I'm running big group sessions with the new damage model on the new car that I hadn't been seeing before in other series that I was doing. But it does seem like this is a new issue that I hadn't seen ever before. So I totally understand if I need to throttle stuff back to avoid the problem. I'm willing to do that, but I'm also just trying to understand what's the root of the problem in the first place. So yeah, I generally have most things on high. Again, 30 Hz targets for LED and FPS. Not doing a lot with the graphics and stuff as far as, like, you know, the extra effects, but again, I understand now that the problem we're seeing where the C bar gets utilized or saturated is generally physics and stuff and not graphics. So we can see that it's kind of borderline here. Got 6.5 minutes or 6 minutes 20 seconds left for qualifying. Or no, it's counting up. We have maybe only 2 minutes left. 1:24. It started 1:15. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, we are in qualifying now. I thought we were still in the open practice. Good girl, set camera to the cockpit. Okay, 15 seconds to the end of qualifying. Set camera to chase. Okay, I think people are going to start to grid now. Things have definitely calmed down on our CPU utilization. While we're not really doing much processing for everybody, but I expect that's going to spike up as soon as all the cars are in grid and we start for the outlap. So yeah, just to review, this is an older 3770K. I have not overclocked it. I used to overclock this system pretty aggressively, but I started to have some stability issues and stuff, so just running it back at the stock clocks is where I'm at today. In some ways, I'm just grateful that the computer still works at all. So it's a 3770K CPU. The GPU is a 1050 Ti, which seems satisfactory for just trying to run the spectator view. I don't use the system to actually race. All I use it for is the stream, OBS, spectator view, and other stuff that goes along with the broadcast. Okay, so some people are starting to filter into the grid now. Utilization is creeping back up. I don't know if there's any relation between how many cars we see on the screen versus how many are being rendered or having physics processing. The bar's pretty close to saturated now, but it's still orange. It hasn't blinking red. And you can see our CPU utilization here is now saturated on at least one of the threads. A couple look very close to saturation. I guess we'll also see once the race gets going if that flatlines out or bombs down. I think we've popped back to mid-pack. It definitely seems... If I go up to the leader... I'm not sure there's a correlation. For a second I thought maybe there was a correlation between how many cars we're seeing and how red the C-bar gets. It does seem like when I pop back and get more in view, it does burn red. So far that's just been turning red and it hasn't caused the skew to go haywire yet. But we'll see once we start racing and people are having collisions and stuff if it has an effect. Okay, they're about to cut loose. Not that I would ever win a bad race on anybody, but I'm hoping for a really spectacular 2-1 collision here that just pushes us over the edge. Nobody collided. Huh. Definitely getting a little view here now. And cars are popping out. Okay, so the good news is I have been able to get it to happen in just a session that I'm spectating without having to participate. But yeah. I think we are now over the edge. May not come back. Switch around to different cars. Let's see if it changes at all. Up with the leader who's not got anybody ahead. Seems like that's helping. All the cores are really heavily utilized right now. It's interesting, none of them seem like they're totally flatline pegged. It does seem like there's just little peaks of headroom. But I mean, this isn't the way I would choose to run the system. And I think what we're obviously seeing is an overload situation. But historically, this has never happened before. And it's something new. Again, maybe it really is just a large grid with like, all the cars using the new damage model, and it's just more CPU intensive, and it's crossing a threshold that is always a little vulnerable on the system, and it's now just getting pushed over a threshold that it can't maintain. But yeah, that's what we see. So I hadn't ever tried to improve the situation while it's going, but I believe that if we drop down the number of cars, that will make a difference. So right now we're at max cars of 63. I think 10 is the minimum. I don't know whether this takes effect immediately. It looks like it does. Okay, so things are back out of the red. Give it a minute and see if it really is more stable overall. Through the field. Oh. Okay, my graphics, or my connectivity has gone crap. I wonder if that's a side effect. Network utilization looks pretty consistent. Go back and look at the VOD and see if the networking freaking out correlated to the P-bar saturation or not. Seems like it's recovering now. But let's see, if we go back, set the cars back up to maximum, that just returns the phenomenon. Back up to 63 cars. And things are back out of control. So, I mean, that's what it is, and that's what I can obviously do is throttle back the number of cars. I'm no longer running the digital race engineer on the system. I don't think that's an absolute requirement. It does seem like now that the Q-bar is saturated, that does have a correlation to the Q-bar on the network quality. I'm pretty sure this side is my connection to the server. Yeah, network connection quality. Left shows simulations network receive quality. The right side shows the race server's receive quality just for my connection. Interesting. But maxing out the CPU, I'm no longer making network throughput. Does seem to be the minimum. Definitely does seem to have the Q-bar and then the Q recovers. Interesting. Let's see. There's a threshold. 10 is the minimum, 63 is the maximum, so let's try with like 35. There are 40 cars in this session, so actually let me try that. Try 40 cars. And it goes. Not surprised. Cars. Not as chronically bad. Oh, no, I guess cars are still popping. Right, 20 cars. Field a little bit. Yeah, 20 cars does seem like it provides a little bit more headroom. None of the cores are totally saturated anymore. But, like I said, this is still running way closer to 100%, and I would normally be comfortable with. How much headroom do I really get running minimum box loads? So, yeah, I guess for me, running with 10 cars seems like a compromise. Obviously, for these kind of races, I'd like the spectator to see more, but anti-malware is still doing. I wonder if it's still doing a search or something. Access to... but yeah, I believe running with 10 cars would be a compromise that I could live with for the time being, but okay, well, I think that's what I wanted to see. On the one hand, I'm glad that I was able to reproduce it the way that I'd been seeing it naturally, and just sort of get it to happen. So share this with the iRacing folk that I've been corresponding with and stuff, and maybe there'll be interesting things they can see from it. But I suspect the feedback is going to be, I'm just pushing the computer too hard, and it's crushing the CPU, and that's what happens. So, yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. Drive safe. Good girl. End stream.